Hello everyone. The first substrate I want to talk about is the TRex sani-chips. Premium heat treated snake and reptile substrate. This size bag is 11 liter or 10 dry quarts, which is, I believe, the biggest bag that you could get this substrate in for this brand, TRex sani-chips. I've seen bigger bags for other substrate sani-chips, but this is the biggest one for TRex. Alright, some of the pros is that it's a real easy substrate to clean. Very loose, so when they go to the bathroom, it's easy to clean up. And also for the juveniles, as you just saw, the juveniles, it's easy for them to burrow into that stuff there too. Some substrates are made of a harder material that might not be best for them, but this is a really good substrate for juveniles, hatchlings to start out in. This also, the substrate also looks pretty good in your tanks. I use it in 3 of my tanks, a 15-gallon tank and 2 10-gallon tanks, and it looks, it blends in real good with the water dish and the heat rock in it and the log and all that, so it looks good, it's not that bad. However, one of the major problems is that if you feed your snake live or frozen, this sani-chips, they're so small that if the mouse is wet when you thaw it, the sani-chips stick to it like crazy. So you'd have to dry the mouse off or feed your snake in a separate container or area, such as a bowl, or what I do sometimes is a container with paper towels on the bottom. But and the live mice, when your snake attacks it, it relieves itself, and the sani-chips stick to the mouse's urine, and it gets all over the mouse too, which could cause to very many problems with snakes' health, such as the dry rot in the mouth and compaction in the snake. So that's a serious problem with this brand, is that it sticks to the mouse. And I'll have a video of it for you following right after this, showing you. Another reason why this is not good is because it doesn't hold the humidity. This substrate isn't good for humid snakes like the tree pythons or snakes like that, ball pythons. It's very it absorbs the moisture very well, but it just doesn't. The humidity doesn't keep it up. Another thing with this too is that I noticed that says, dust free and all that, but when I put this in my tank after cleaning it, my allergies start going off, so, from it. And it's, I think that was another thing about it, was that there was a lot of dust created, and corn snakes are prone for respiratory infections, so that was a big thing too. Overall, I would rate this, give it 4 out of 5 stars. Decent price. This bag cost me $11 over at PetSmart. Maybe it's cheaper or more expensive in other places, but $11 US in PetSmart. And like I said, personally I love it for my hatchlings. Good for them to burrow in, easy to clean. So it's a good one. It's a good substrate, mostly all around, and I really like it. Alright everyone, this next one is Zoomed's Aspen snake bedding. I used this a couple of times. Overall it's pretty decent. I wouldn't, I don't think highly too much of it. Some of the pros is that it's good for hibernation. I use this in my 75-gallon tank. What I do is I put some repti bark on the bottom of the tank for insulation. Then I put a bunch of this Aspen snake bedding in there, about 4 inches thick or so, covering it. And I put some more repti bark on top of it to kind of create like an area where they could hang out and stuff, hibernate. But that's one of the good pros for it. That's what I use it mainly for. Good for burrowing in. For all types of snakes, juveniles, adults, hatchlings, and it's pretty decent with cleaning. You can clean it fairly easily. However, this substrate also states that it is 99.9% dust free, and once again, this is not the case because when I have put in my 75-gallon tank. I put a bunch of like 2 or 3 bags of this in there, and oh man, my allergies are off the wall. I'm sneezing like crazy. My nose is going off the wall, and the dust, like you could really see it in the air. So that, and it's not really too well. It doesn't do too well for humidity. It doesn't really hold the humidity at all. This is what it looks like when it comes out. It's all clumped and stuff. But pretty much when you touch it and stuff, and you loosen it up, it doesn't clump at all. And what I noticed with it is that it packs really well, because I put the repti bark over it, and that the repti bark kind of settles it, and it makes it packed really well. So this is a 8 dry quart bag. They do have different sizes for it, bigger, smaller, and the price of it's fairly decent. So this is a good bedding for beginners and really everyone around. But like I said, it's decent. Not my favorite substrate. But I give this one a 3 out of 5 because it's easy to use, decent to clean. It looks good in your tank, so I give it a 3 out of 5. The next one I want to do is the Fluker's Aspen color bedding. This is a red bedding. The main reason I got this was for my hatchlings for last year. I had a bunch of Amel corn snakes that hatched, and figured put the red on the red, and it looked pretty good. I liked it. So that's what I like about this. It was looked really nice in the cage. But with that being said, let me go on to explain about this one. This substrate is also a very easy substrate for the snake to burrow through. All snakes, and it also looks awesome in the tank. Other than that, I'm not really a big fan of this. Some of the cons is that spot cleaning can be very tricky, because the bedding will kind of stick all together like clump, but then there will be like pieces here and there, and it's just a pain to clean up. The bedding will also stick to mice, like I said previously in the video with the other substrate. Same problem, frozen, thawed, more so not the live mice, but for the thawed mice, that you feed your snake, this bedding sticks really easy to this, to that mouse. So that's what I didn't like about it, and it creates, you know, a lot of hazards potentially for your corn snake, compaction and all that I was explaining before. So that's why, you know, kind of stay away from this one. Also, it's not really good for humidity. It won't hold any humidity at all, keep humidity in the tank at all. Definitely not good for that. And this bag also says that the color does not bleed when wet, which I found to be false. Many of times, you know, accidentally putting the water dish in the cage and it spills a little bit and all that. And, you know, I see, because I could see underneath the tank there was red, you know, water underneath and stuff. And sometimes when the chips get in the water bowl, it turns the water red also. So, you know, that's why I don't like this product. I'll give this only 2 out of 5 stars because of all the cons outweighing the pros. You know, I really don't like this because, you know, spot clean can be tricky, bedding will stick to your mice, definitely not good for humidity, and the color bleeds, you know. Other than that, you know, not much more to say about this, really. But, like I said, I got it, tried it out for my hatchlings of last year. It looked awesome in the tank. You know, it looked wonderful. But, you know, just didn't cut it. Alright, the next one will be All Living Things Premium Snake, Premium Aspen Bedding, my bad. Premium Aspen Bedding. Some of the pros about this is that one thing for sure is the price. The price is really, really good on this bag. This is a 12-quart bag, you know, pretty good size bag. And the price is phenomenal. I think I only got this for $8. So the price, you can't really beat that. $8 for 12 dry quarts. So that's really nice. Another thing is it's also good for hibernation. I also like to put this in my tanks too. You know, it's kind of weird to say this, but it's kind of like a fluffy material, sort of. You know, there's a lot of space in between that the snakes could, you know, easily burrow through this. You know, it's very lightweight material. So this could be, you know, this is good for the snakes also. So, you know, those are the pros, you know. But that's why I like this one. Cons is that, once again, this is not dust free like advertised, you know. You put it in the tank and allergies going off and, you know, cause respiratory issues for your snake. And it doesn't hold humidity either at all. Not really good at that. And it can be difficult to clean somewhat. Trying to clean it, you're going to have to take like a good handful out when you do that. So that's why I don't like this. I give this a 4 out of 5 stars because you can't beat the price. You could get tons of this for very cheap. You know, it's good for hibernation, good for burrowing for the snake, and very lightweight. So this is really good for snakes in that sense. And, you know, a good bedding for beginners. It's a good bedding for experts, you know. I think if you're starting out, this is a bedding that you might want to go for also because, you know, like I said, price-wise, it's awesome. And the quality is pretty good, you know. So that is All Living Things Premium Aspen Bedding. Alright everyone, sorry I don't have a bag to show you for this one. I already used up all of it. I have to get more. So for now, we'll be just watching my 2 adult corn snakes. The product I want to talk about now is the Med ReptiBark. Some of the pros to this is that it looks nice in the tank. I use it for the hibernation. I put it down on the bottom, kind of try and block out the cold draft coming from the bottom of the tank, because it's set on a shelf that has vents on the bottom, so it kind of uses it as a barrier for top and bottom. And supposedly this is what they advertise, is that you can wash the substrate after you clean it, clean out all the shit out of it and stuff. You can actually put this in a bucket and wash the substrate and let it air dry. As for the ratio and stuff, I don't know. Personally, I do not do that. I just go out and buy a brand new bag from the place down at the corner of my street. So I just think it's easier for me to do that. I just personally don't want to wash this. That could be good for anyone who's tight on money. Buy a big bag of this, and you could reuse it like 2-3 times or so. So that's it could help you out with that in that way. Some of the stuff that I don't like about it is that it's very hard to spot clean. You'd have to, once again, you'll have to take out a big handful of this stuff to clean it and everything. It also doesn't hold the humidity well at all. So you'd have to put in a shed box for the snakes or something like that. And also it's very hard for the juvenile snakes and hatchlings to burrow in this. They're wood chips, so it's hard for them to get in there. I've used it before. Believe it or not, one of my corn snakes actually got a hatchling, got a cut on it from the bark. So that's why I kind of refrain from using it with my hatchlings and stuff. But overall I give this like a 4 out of 5 stars, because it looks nice. Really can make you have a realistic looking tank. So I really love it for that. And you can wash this substrate too, for those like me who are tight on money. Wash it a couple times, but that's what I like about it. So 4 out of 5 stars for this. The price is a little bit expensive on this, somewhat. Place I get for is about $20 to $25 for a big bag of this. I do not know how many quarts that is, but for a big bag, about $20 to $25. So that's another thing about it. But with that being said, that's it with this one. Finally, I want to talk about this product here. It is Med New Zealand Spagna Moss, if I'm saying that correctly. I use this mostly for things such as humidity, such for lay boxes for my snakes. This is an excellent substrate for to put in a hide box for your female corn snakes that are about to lay. This is also really good for what I do, is I put it in a container, and I dampen the moss, obviously, in all circumstances. Put it in the container, and it's good for shedding too. It really helps out the snakes for shedding. Humidity get in there and help the snake shed. So that's why I like to use this also. I also use this for incubation. I put it in the container with the vermiculite, and it keeps the humidity up in there too. So this is really good, awesome moss to use for lay boxes, shed boxes and for incubation, because it's really amazing with humidity. It's also also very messy though. With that being said, very messy. Trying to spray it down, pieces be flying everywhere. And it gets all over your hands too when you're handling it. A lot of times when it's wet, you know, when it's wet, it gets all over your hands. So, you know, it's very messy. But, you know, I give this a 5 out of 5 stars for humidity and for the stuff I said above. You know, just a great product. And it doesn't cost much either. I believe I got this for $6, but I'm not sure exactly what the price is, which isn't that bad compared to some of the other stuff I've seen. So I highly recommend this for all you people trying to breed out there, and if you guys are having shed problems with your snakes. So that's a good product.